My name is Dr. Dallas Stout, and my wife's name is Dr. Debbie Stout. We met at Cal State Fullerton as students about 28 years ago. We were in a service club and for fraternity and sorority, and we became sweethearts and got married about 26 and a half years ago, and have continued to work together in the field of human services and psychology. We both went into the same doctorate program in psychology, and I guess the rest is history, as they say. Debbie?
Yeah, just to add a little bit about that, we both are professors at the Cal State University Fullerton. I teach in the Department of Child and Adolescent Studies along with Dallas, and I also teach in the Department of Counseling, and we've been there now 12 years.
More than that, 13.
13 now, yeah.
And 14 for you.
Yeah, so it's flying by, and I was raised in a little town in Idaho, and moved out here when I was 12, and we've actually lived in Fullerton now for 28 years.
26 and a half years.
26, yeah.
We moved here when we got married, and I was born in the hood in LA County, so we have a very multicultural marriage. Well, it kind of came to us. We at Cal State Fullerton, we get probably 10 emails a day about random stuff going on campus and this and that. And towards the beginning of this semester, they sent out an email saying that Titan Radio was looking for people to do radio shows. And both Debbie and I were like, that would be interesting. And yet we both thought, this is crazy. We're so busy with everything else we have going on. This is not something we should probably entertain. But me in particular, I've always kind of had this attitude that when good opportunities come along, you say yes and trust the process, trust that things will work out. And so we both kind of said, let's do it. So we wrote up a prospectus, turned it in along with lots of other people, and we got picked.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And one of the things, just to add, we actually, since we've lived in Fullerton for a while, we've worked at the state level, at the city. We decided to focus on the city level. And so we have our own little consulting firm. And part of that is I actually am the executive director of the collaborative. So we have a lot of vetted interest in the city of Fullerton, and just the wonderful things that the city brings, and the wonderful resources that we have in the city. And we really appreciate that, and really want to highlight that. And that's why we really wanted to put this radio show together as well.
Yeah, I've worked in the nonprofit community and education community for 30 years in Orange County. We used to do a lot of work at the county level and the state level. And when our daughter was born 12 years ago, we kind of retreated to Fullerton and North Orange County originally, and then Fullerton, just to spend our energies towards the community that we're raising her in. So when they said you need to have 10 episodes this semester, we thought, that was easy for us to do. Well, I think we knew it would be a talk show, and we knew it would be about the nonprofit world because, as Debbie said, our psychology practice is what would fall into the realm of industrial organizational psychology. We've done consulting now for 16 years with these nonprofits all over the county, as well as coalitions, networks, and other things. So I think the moment we decided to do it, we knew it would be a talk show, and we knew it would be about nonprofits.
Absolutely. And then we reached out to our partners within the community and hot topics, things that are going on in the city of Fullerton that we really want to address, and also to highlight and share with what's going on, and how can the community get involved? How can we help support this, the work together?
As I said, they approached us in a sense, not personally, but via a general email to all the faculty on campus. And we decided to do it and threw our hat in the ring. They asked us for 3 potential time slots. It didn't really matter to us in the grand scheme of things. We wanted some professional time slots. So I know that Saturday evening was one of our choices. So they chose the time slot when they chose us.
It depends on what kind of other faculty members submitted and also what other students submitted. That's depending on what time slots we were selected as well. So, and then Titan Radio and Matthew over there has been a resource for us ever since they reached out to us.
Yeah, I should note, we have never done a radio show before. I mean, both Debbie and I have appeared on radio shows many times talking about troubled youth and violence prevention and other things, but we had never run a radio show or managed an episode or anything before this. And they said, when they were asking for input, Titan Radio and Matthew said, we'll train you, we'll tell you everything you need to know. And he has been wonderful with videos and things as we were kind of learning the curves this semester. I doubt it. I mean, Titan Radio's been around for at least 15 years. So I'm sure there's been other professors that have done this. I know I was telling Debbie about 10 years ago, I had a student in one of my classes that had a radio show for Titan Radio. He called it the Dr. Mario Show. And so, yeah.
Yeah. So I believe this is the first time that it's not being not filmed, but capturing it in the basement of the public library. And so they normally have had the radio shows and having them go to the studio there on campus. So this is the first time that we're not using that facility. And there is other faculty members this semester that are doing it as well.
We use Zoom. And we do the video so that we can converse with each other casually. But with Zoom gives you the option of capturing the audio. And so we get the audio and then we do some editing with some software they provided. And then we upload it into their queue system. And then they take it from there and plug it in.
Yeah. So like when we were being trained, they mentioned all different types of ways to do it. And, you know, Zoom is one that both Dallas and I are very familiar with teaching on campus. So we went ahead and did that route. And then in addition to that, like Dallas mentioned, the software, the Adobe Edition is what they recommended. And we were able to be trained on that as we're putting it. So sometimes we're plugging it in through that modality or through Zoom, depending on the actual editing and putting it together and slicing it together.
Yeah, I usually try to write an intro piece about the organization, like just one paragraph, and maybe an introduction to the person or people that are speaking in the video. And so I'll usually lead off with that, and then Debbie has a part in welcoming them as well, and then we just jump into questions. We try to write most of the questions in advance and provide them to them so they have an idea of what we're going after, but we also want to be natural and fluid about the process. So other questions come up naturally, and we do those as well. The first couple of shows we did separate interviews and then spliced them all together, and we've learned that it's easier to do a group interview because the less editing we have to do, the less time commitment for us. So it's now we're trying to get everybody on at the same time and just kind of do a group interview. It's also a little more lively that way. And
also they're not knowing what other people said if you do individual interviews as well. Yeah. So that it kind of helps it out. Yeah.
But we'll typically ask about them and their career. We ask about the founding of the program, what they do, what their typical client or program looks like, how they're funded, their board of directors, how to get involved, how to donate. You know, we're trying to provide a service to the community as well.
And how to get involved, how do they step up, where do they volunteer, what do they need from the community. And especially now with the pandemic, we were really focusing on what has the organization done differently and how are they adapting to the new needs in the community, because we're seeing some different needs, and how are those nonprofits or civic organizations approaching that. Like we a couple weeks ago had the fire chief on, and so we're talking to him about how has it changed and what can we do to help support them, the police department, and other organizations in the city of Fullerton.
the show just started on October 3rd was our debut. So I think that we've never done it without the pandemic.
But I think it really focuses on, how to address it. I know that the last semester, would have been in this summer, they actually had, the radio show going on with some addresses from the president. And so this is the first kind of going out into the field in the community that's not been done before, that they haven't gone out into the city of Fullerton, especially, and addressing what's going on in the pandemic. It's been more like the radio aspect of it, not more of the community aspect. And so that's why they were thrilled to have us be able to approach them.
I'm not sure. The initial commitment was for 10 episodes this semester. I don't even know if they run the Titan Radio during the break. Debbie and I have been kind of talking about, do we want to do this next semester? And if we do we want to keep it the same or tweak it? Our involvement is long enough and deep enough that we could certainly easily come up with 10 more episodes without much work, because there's lots of unique, interesting Fullerton stories to tell. So I don't think we've 100% committed to next semester yet, but I suspect it's pretty likely.
Yes, and it depends also on Titan Radio and what their mission is and their goals are for next semester. And, of course, the campus is not open, so the ability to be able to do the recording there. So I think it really has, depends on that. And also, as a side note, this is something that we are not getting paid for. This is something that we have volunteered, as in our spare time, to be able to support and really get the word out about what's going on in the city of Fullerton to all of the residents and all of the students on campus.
Initially said that our show would focus on the Fullerton community and with a special focus on the nonprofit scene. Nonprofit education and government. We wanted it to be useful for people that live, work, or go to school in the city of Fullerton. We have some fantastic nonprofits in our city that have very inspiring stories about how they were founded. So that's what we're trying to do.
Yes, and so I don't know if you wanted specific topics that we have in the queue, but we have tomorrow, our next show would be Tara's Chance, which is an amazing program. I don't know if Dallas, you want to share more about the equine therapy?
It's an equine therapy program for troubled youth, so horse therapy. And it's like 10 minutes from Cal State Fullerton's campus. It's hidden in the hills behind St. Jude. Most people have never heard of it. But here in the middle of our city, we have an equine therapy program. And they get these troubled kids and kids with alternate abilities, and they get them on horses and just do amazing work. And it's so cool. And then I said, we asked them, what have you done different in the pandemic? They had to shut down, of course. Nobody could come there. And after a while, the owner was like, we need to bring the horses to the kids. So they loaded their horses up in the back of the horse trailer, hitched it to their truck, and they were driving to their clients' houses. So these autistic kids and stuff could come out and see their horse for 5 minutes. I mean, it's just so amazing.
Absolutely. And then we also have in the queue for Solidarity, which reaches out to communities in South Fullerton. And during the pandemic, they've been able to really put their resources together with other organizations and provide meals for the community and also immigration services and address those needs in the southern part of the city of Fullerton.
Gang prevention. And they've been around for 18 years. They were founded by a small group of college students at Hope International University who wanted to get involved. So they walked into this, what they thought, troubled, poor neighborhood to change the neighborhood, and ended up changing their lives in the process and founded this nonprofit program, which, we did a story on the Women's Club of Fullerton. It's over 100 years old. It almost wasn't. One woman heard they were closing down and just led a charge to revitalize it. It's an interesting story.
Yep, absolutely. And we also will plan on doing another show around homelessness and addressing what are the resources and how are we supporting each other with the new mandates and also some of the new changes in the city of Fullerton and how we're going to be able to work together addressing those as well.
And our very first episode, we interviewed the chief of police about his community advisory committee, and that came out of me personally attending 4 or 5 community forums, angry forums where people were confronting the police about everything wrong, and people kept saying, we need input, and I kept saying, we have that, there needs to be a citizen forum where they can provide input. I'm like, we have that. So, I told the chief, listen, we don't want to talk about everything that's been talked about. I want this to focus on this committee and these people. And we were even able to interview a couple of his community advisory board members as part of the process. So that was kind of cool.
And also Cal State Fullerton, in that process, we learned that they actually have their own board, they're developing their own board as well. And so we were able to address that and talk about that on our show. And all of our shows, we're able to we own the rights. And so we were able to put them and have them available for viewers to go and watch after that it's been live. Not watch, but listen. Yeah, we have the recording. So it airs live on titanradio.org on Saturday nights at 8. And then shortly thereafter, I'm putting a recording of it on our website at drsconsulting.org. And they can click on Two Doc Talk radio show and listen to any of our past episodes. So that's kind of cool too. And we got special permission to be able to do that. Yes. That's what we've done presently because, not everybody can sign on. Not everybody wants to sign on at 8:00 on Saturday night. So this way, again, we're still providing a service. And for the nonprofits especially, they can send out the link in their next month's newsletter. They can use it for marketing purposes to say, hey, we were on the radio. And, we're really hoping that it helps them a lot. Share their stories. Well, we hope that it's inspiring. I mean, if you want to be inspired, if you want to hear, there's so much negativity right now in the world, and you turn on the news and everything's bad and wrong. If you want to hear what's right about Fullerton, what's going well in Fullerton, and the stories about these hidden gems, our radio show is the place to be.